We must allow room for deeper understandings. Because what happens is our minds get too full, right? Our minds are too full. We're taking in too much information. And to be able to understand certain things, to be able to receive deeper understandings, we have to empty the mind. We have to reconstitute the mind. We spend so much time taking in information, eventually we reach a point where we're like, wait a minute, I have to do the opposite. You're going this way, full speed, and now you come to a screeching halt, and you say, wait a minute, now I have to do the opposite. I have to empty my mind. I have to stop taking in information. Remember, to empty the mind, you have to stop taking in information, because if you're trying to dump out a bucket of trash to empty it, and you're also trying to put trash in at the same time, you're not going to be able to empty it. So to receive these deeper understandings, like for instance, I listened to Ram Dass for years, right? And he would say a lot of things that I thought I understood, but I really didn't. And it wasn't until I started to reconstitute my mind, which I'll talk about in a minute what that means, that I started to understand some of the things he was talking about, and understand what it means to stand in the center of the circle, right? Understand what it means to be stuck in the illusion, these types of things. I didn't even have even close to any comprehension to any of these things I've been speaking about recently, until I came upon reconstituting my mind. And I naturally reached a point where I said to myself, my mind feels full. I can't take in any more information. I reached a natural point in my journey of presence and purification where I said, I can't even take in any kind of information. It doesn't matter what it is. My mind is full. I'm done. I've taken in enough information. I reached that point, and from that point on, I started to reconstitute my mind. What does that mean? I started to empty my mind. And remember, you can't effectively empty the mind if you're still taking stuff in and taking too much stuff in. You might be able to take a little bit of stuff in, but remember, we're trying to take it all out. We need to create that space to allow understanding, to allow the divine to communicate with us. So how do we do that? We have to stop taking in information. We have to spend as much time as we can in presence, and we have to do things like, for instance, if you go for a walk, that's a great time to reconstitute the mind. Put on some relaxing music or no music and focus on presence. Presence is part of reconstituting the mind. For me, the universe gave me a job when my mind got too full that allowed me to reconstitute my mind for long periods of time. Part of reconstituting the mind, it can get a little tricky and a little stressful, because part of reconstituting the mind, of emptying the mind, is allowing all these programs that our mind is filled with to work themselves out. So you might get caught in some stressful workings out of your mind. Your mind is going to run these programs. Sometimes we just have to let them run. And it can back us into some stressful corners. But what is happening is we're getting to the bottom of these programs. We get to the bottom of these programs and we say, oh, so really this is just an issue with me not accepting something, or whatever it may be, being stuck in cycles of thought, not being present enough. And we start to dissolve these programs. So we stop taking information, we're emptying the mind, we're focusing on presence, and we let all the programs and the thought cycles work, that run themselves out. We let them run themselves ragged until they're run out and they start to dissolve. We start to dissolve this program, dissolve this form, and we got to stop taking information, because if we're still taking information, you can't empty the mind if you're still taking in information. This is why I stopped reading books. This is why I stopped. My mind naturally reached this point. in my journey. Well, I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to watch movies. I'm not going to watch TV shows. I'm not playing video games. I'm not reading books. I have to stop. I gotta cut the scrolling on social media, because it's all aggravating and stimulating the mind, and it's filling my mind. My mind's done. I've reached enough. Eventually, we reach a point where we realize to move forward in our understanding and in our awakening, we don't need to seek any more information. We need to empty the mind through presence, through purification, through reconstitution, and allow the space necessary to develop understandings and receive deeper understandings. This is I'm just sharing with you my experience through my journey and how I receive deeper understandings, not by looking for anything. I no longer read books, because we realize the deepest understandings we can receive are from the divine, are from God. And where is God? God is in the center of the circle. God is not thinking. God is without attachments, right? This is why we have to dissolve the ego. We work on all these things at the same time. Reconstitution, presence, dissolving the ego, purification, because they all work together. And as we and facilitating a state of peace. And as we work on these things all together, not judging ourselves, right? Not getting caught up in feeling bad or guilt or shame. We start to realize these things are just a trap, because these things assume control when there is no control. Things like this. These are deeper understandings. So a lot of my videos, I talk about some of these things that a lot of people may not be able to understand yet. That's okay. If you can't understand some of the concepts or things I'm talking about, that's okay. You may later. What we need to really focus and working on is emptying the mind, reconstituting the mind. Remember, you're never going to miss a thing, because even if you stop reading books or stop taking in information, the universe will give you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. Everything is in divine timing. So, back to reconstituting the mind. This is very important, because we need to empty the mind. This is crucial, so we can make room for these divine, these deeper understandings, which is going to allow us to evolve our consciousness, our spiritual awakening more, and which is going to allow us all these deeper understandings that we're making room for is going to catapult us closer and closer to the center of the circle, because this whole time we're moving toward the center of the circle, because as long as we're attached to anything, we're going to be kept in lower perspectives, right? And as long as we're attached, we're going to be caught in the illusion. And as long as we're caught in the illusion, we're going to keep on coming back around time after time again. So, what are we focusing on? If we want to receive deeper understandings, emptying the mind. If you're called to read something or watch something or listen to something, then do it. I'm not telling you to not. You need to listen to your intuition and your guidance. But what I'm saying is, if you reach a point where you say, I feel like my mind is full, and I feel like I'm forcing myself to try to listen to this or read this book when I really don't want to, maybe that's a sign it's time to reconstitute. Because that's what happened to me. And what happened when I did that, I stopped reading these books. I started gaining these understandings, which I would never have gained from taking in more information, because taking in knowledge, being able to take in and repeat knowledge, is not the same as understanding. And we don't need to read or take in information to receive understandings. The divine will provide those understandings, even the context for them. So this is how we receive these deeper understandings. This is how we reconstitute the mind. Be gentle on yourselves, my friend. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.